Looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. The CNN Center right now is just beginning to work on this story, obviously calling our sources and trying to figure out exactly what happened, but clearly something relatively devastating happening this morning there.
Whitson, hold on just a moment. We've got an explosion inside.
The building's exploding right now. You got people running up the street.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll tell you what's going on.
Okay.
Hello, welcome back to Mr. Mysteries in Black and White with me, Ed, and Josh, aka Black and White. But yeah, it's a bit of a different one today. I'm actually opening it up, even though this is our third one. Josh always opens them, but yeah, we're going to do
something new for a change.
Yeah. See how it goes. Well, this one is Josh's specialty. It's a conspiracy. And it's on the great American tragedy of 9/11. Josh, before we get into it, how you been, my man?
I'm not been too bad, actually. Yourself?
Yeah, been too bad. Just been keeping my eye on the news with the old Ukraine-Russia.
Which is very, very terrifying.
Yeah. I'm just waiting to get drafted.
Yeah, it's going to happen sooner or later.
Well, I hope not.
Well, no, I hope not, but sad reality is the way they're going about.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Well, I think it's sad reality. We might not get the chance to. I think that's going to be a bit too late.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully things get resolved. Our thoughts and our prayers are with Ukraine at the minute.
Yep.
And we just hope something gets resolved peacefully and we can actually go back. Because, come on, this is going to be our first summer in the last 2 or 3 years where it's going to be normal.
Yeah.
With the whole coronavirus situation. So I'm hoping that
we get a summer.
Yeah.
You watch, it'll be perfect, and then the weather will just be shite.
Yeah,
pissing it down every day.
Snow.
Yeah, somehow snow in August.
So yeah, we're on about this episode's going to be about the tragic events what happened on September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
So Josh, take it away, my man.
Right. Well, before I start, the first thing I want to say is I am not doing this to upset anyone who's lost loved ones or anything like that during this tragedy. I'm just coming at it from, you can say conspiracy point of view, but the way I'm coming at it is the official story, in my opinion, it cannot be true.
No.
And I want to try and debunk it as much as I can. And if there's people out there that do believe it's true and don't agree with the facts that I'm about to put across, let me know. You know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I'm right, you're wrong. This is just where I'm coming from, because I think it's unfair on the people that have lost loved ones, and they deserve their justice. They deserve the truth.
Yeah, they do.
And I think the more podcasts, the more videos, the more anything like that about this, for lack of a better word, conspiracy, the more chance you have of the truth actually coming out.
Yeah.
So what I'll do first is, for those that have been living under a rock, I'll explain just the...
but just before you get in, Josh, sorry to cut you off, but I just want to say massive respect to the fire department and the police and all that, the emergency services, what were there, whereas people were running away, they were running towards it.
And the sad reality of it is, they've been dying ever since because of the shit they breathed in that day.
Yeah.
So many people have ended up with cancer or just shattered lungs and everything because of the toxic debris they've just been breathing in.
And also, I imagine like the mental health as well, like PTSD.
Oh God, that
shell shock. Well, not shell shock.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it must knock people for six. Like
exactly.
What happened on that day, because it was out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And I mean, like we said in the intro episode, we must have been about 5-6 at the time.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a clue what was going on. As only as we've gotten older and we've known, you've had documentaries, films, all that sort of thing, that you actually realise it. And then when you start looking back at it, that's where I come from with this. Where it was, I was watching these films, I was watching these documentaries, and it was a case of, that don't seem plausible, that don't seem right. and then you start looking at in depth about it, and you're like, nah, this ain't right. To put it perfect, major conspiracy theorist David Icke, he put it perfect. So, David, if you're somehow listening to this, please don't copyright it, because I think this is the best terminology I've ever heard. You imagine 9/11 as a centipede. Okay, right? No, wait.
What?
Wait, just imagine the centipede come along, and that was the story of 9/11.
Yeah.
And every single one of its legs was a part of that story.
Right.
Every single one of those legs has got an Achilles heel. Every single one has got a part of it where it's like, the official story just cannot be true.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
When I first heard it, I was like, what the fuck are you going on about? But no, when he explained it, it's
What
like...
centipedes involved?
Yeah. It's like centipedes caused 9/11.
Yeah. There's probably someone out there who thinks that. They're goddamn centipedes. They got them fucked up.
But the official story, for those, like I said, who have been living under a rock, I'll just briefly go through it, okay? So, the official story is that on Tuesday, September 11th, 2001, 19 Arab hijackers commandeered 4 planes. They were United Flight 93, American Flight 11, United Flight 175, and American Flight 77. Now, I've got the timestamps here of when parts of the story needed. So 8:15 in the morning, Flight 11 was hijacked, and by 8:45 it had crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. By 9:03, United 175 crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. 9:37, Flight 77 hit the Pentagon. 9:59, the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapses. At 3 minutes past 10, Flight 93 crashes in Shanksville, near Pennsylvania. And at 10:28, the North Tower collapses.
Right.
So that's the official story, the key moments of the official story. If I was to go in depth about the official story, that'd be a podcast in its own. So
that one, the Pennsylvania one, because was that going to the Capitol or the White House?
Yeah, that was. Loads of people think it was going to the White House, but I think it has been proven that it was heading for the Capitol building.
Right, and that's where they took it back.
Yeah, the reason it didn't hit the Capitol building is because what a lot of people didn't know, that should have been one of the first planes to have hit one of the buildings.
Oh, really?
But because it was delayed, it was the last one to take off, and that's why the passengers got news and wind of what was going on elsewhere,
right?
And that's why they resolved and fought back.
Oh, wow.
So that just goes to show little things like that. A simple thing of a flight being delayed, which is so common, especially nowadays.
Yeah, and it's an annoyance to it.
Yeah,
to us all,
every
really,
flight, and it didn't sadly save their lives.
No.
But it did save countless of other lives on the ground.
That's true heroism, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
they put
100%.
their life on the line to save others.
They knew
brilliant.
From the other 3 planes being hijacked, hitting their building, and then their plane being hijacked, they knew this plane ain't landing.
No.
It's going to kill thousands of people if it hits where they're aiming to hit.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean?
Like, sacrifice a few to save many.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, going on to it, like I said, I'm just putting across my point of view of why I can't believe the official story is true. So I've categorized it to 4 or 5 main ones.
Right.
But I'm going to go obviously in depth on them one.
Yeah.
Now the first one, and I think the obvious one to start is with the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what the World Trade Center is,
or Twin Towers.
Or the Twin Towers, as they were more commonly known as, they were 2 110-story tall steel frame buildings. Now, the official story is that when these planes hit the buildings, the aviation fuel burnt, and originally it was, they melted the steel beams. Yeah. But the temperature to melt steel of that thickness would be 2,750 degrees.
Bloody hell.
Jet fuel only burns at 2,230 degrees. So, possibly couldn't melt it.
Right. But could it warp it?
Yeah, that's where the story changed. They said because steel of that thick weakens at about 593.3 degrees.
Right, so it said
so the structure loosened at it, and when it gets to that point, a steel structure normally loses around 50% of its strength.
Right.
So that's why it collapsed.
But if it was warping, surely that would bend.
It would bend and buckle.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not fall down.
Falls straight down, and this is where it starts getting a bit interesting, right?
That's like a demolition.
For starters, you think about it, like I said, jet fuel burns at 2,230 degrees.
Yeah.
But that is when the entire plane's worth of jet fuel
Yeah.
is
I was
burned.
going to say that.
So
like, 'cause-
much of it had already been used
to
obviously,
get
in the
there.
flight.
Yeah.
And the second half, another half of it, you look at the videos of when the South Tower was hit by the second plane.
Yeah.
Most of the aviation fuel has burnt away in an explosion outside of the building.
Right. Yeah.
So how
yeah,
has that possibly managed to weaken that to that point?
Yeah, it would weaken, like, I don't know, 30%
Yeah,
of the
30,
beams.
a corner or something, because
Yeah.
it did hit near a corner. It
That's
weakened
right.
that corner, but the other three would have been perfectly intact. They should have stood,
Yeah.
because it's steel. It's not fucking going anywhere.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
And as well, like, because it's New York, isn't it?
Yeah, New York.
Yeah, obviously. But, because don't they have, like, earthquakes and that in New York?
Yeah, of course they do.
So the builders must be designed.
Designed to withstand that.
Yeah,
There
withstand
was-
that, and as well, say, like, a corner did buckle.
Yeah.
That the other three should be able to
Well,
stand.
there was a rumour going around, whether it's true or not, I don't know. I've tried to look it up and I can't find anything about it. But the bloke who owns it is a guy called Larry
Oh,
Silverstein.
is this the insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
rumoured to have recently insured both the towers to withstand such an attack.
Yeah, it was insurance
Yeah,
for a
insurance
terrorist attack.
of a terrorist attack after the 93 bombing.
Yeah.
So, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I can't say. Like I said, I tried to look it up, couldn't find anything.
No,
about it.
it was something like on Facebook.
Yeah,
Something.
something
I
like that,
remember
which
seeing
exactly
that.
isn't
It's like-
exactly the go-to when you want to find out
it's
facts.
not the most concrete.
No,
proof, is it?
exactly. But the thing, like I said, with the World Trade Centers, they are 110 stories tall buildings.
Yeah.
They fell, when you look at the video of them collapsing, they fell in 10 seconds, which is the equivalent of free fall speed.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, this is where it starts to get, because the official story claims that as the top fell,
Yeah.
one floor would have hit the next, and it would have pancaked and they would have gone down.
Yeah, like a demolition.
Yeah. But if that's the case,
Had a slow.
it would have gone slower and slower.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But instead it fell within 10 seconds. And you can only have free fall speed when everything else underneath it has been removed, so it's got little resistance.
Ah, right. Okay.
So there's your first, problem.
yeah. Sus.
Yeah.
Sus moment.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a diagram that I saw as well, where when the building collapses, there's a concrete column stood right in the middle,
Right.
and that still stood. How did that happen? If the whole thing would have hit floor by floor and gone down and down and down and down and down, how on earth did that one concrete column
Yeah.
stand tall?
But surely the concrete had been reinforced.
But reinforced, but then again, reinforced concrete's still not going to be as strong as what? God knows how many inches thick of steel.
No, I guess not. I don't know actually.
And the one thing that I was getting at is, like, if the floors are hitting one another, that concrete column was in the middle of them floors.
Yeah.
So it would have hit that down along with it.
Or or it could have been like like when you break a bit of wood. And you crack it. Could it be like that? Like it's
Hit
got,
it
like,
and it's just gone either side
yeah,
of it.
because the two
Potentially.
sides could be like heavier.
Yeah, very well,
But
potentially.
also, when were the Twin Towers built?
Oh, fucking hell. Well, I don't know exactly when they were built, but obviously there wasn't a terrorist attack on them beforehand in 1993.
Yeah.
Where there was the bomb that went off in the garage, I think, below.
Yeah.
So they were still standing around then.
No,
so
yeah.
they would have been built.
The only reason I ask is coming from a construction background.
Yeah.
Concrete never fully goes off.
It constantly just.
It
sets.
constantly gets harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
So that makes me think, because with the reinforcement as well, it binds it all together.
Yeah.
And it's been I don't know when it was built, but it must have been built some years ago.
Yeah.
It's still constantly getting harder, so it could withstand.
But then
floors
wouldn't the
drop.
majority of that concrete do that? Instead of just one column out of both towers, just one column out of the one tower.
Possibly, but it could be or the sheer with the size of that column compared to the others.
Yeah, very well could be. Very well could be. Everything that we've just explained,
Yeah.
not one bit of it would matter if a proper investigation was done around after the towers had collapsed.
Right, okay.
Because you'd have forensic experts, demolition experts, you'd have all these experts in their field.
Yeah.
And they'd come in and they'd pretty easily be able to discover how these buildings collapse.
Yeah, that is
Like, exactly for every inch of detail.
yeah.
Because they thoroughly check through pieces of debris, pieces of metal, whatever,
Yeah.
and they were like, right,
yeah,
this
like
bit
what
weakened
caused-
here, causing that bit to collapse, and blah blah blah. Bang,
Yeah,
bang,
they
bang.
reconstruct it, don't they?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But the thing is, the guy that was running the criminal investigation into 9/11 was a man called Michael Chertoff, and he
Shirt off.
Chertoff. So take that off at the end and add a V.
What was his name?
Michael Chertoff.
Michael, get your shirt off.
And at the time he was running this, he was actually the head of the Criminal Association of the Justice Department in the US. So he was the big Donny, basically,
Yeah.
when it comes to anything criminal. Him and his, like, people, for lack of a better word, the people underneath
Consortium.
it, consortium, decided very, very quickly, within, I think, a few days, that rubble and the steel from the towers would be picked up with these big grabbers, placed onto trucks, and then they would be taken to a scrapyard in New Jersey,
Right.
where they would end up being cut down, smelted down, and to become, well, whatever.
Right. Oh, to be reused.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And he claimed that he did that because of the sensitive nature of the building, of the materials that were used in the building.
Right.
But if it was sensitive nature, why is it then being carted off to another place
Yeah.
where the dust and all particles and that are still going to be coming off them,
Mm.
and then you're going to cut and smelt them down?
Yeah. No, that does.
Because
seem
you've got to
bit-
think, this is a crime scene.
Yeah.
And it's like, before anyone can have a proper investigation, they've done this.
Yeah.
And you can see in videos where the grabbers are coming and they're picking up bits of the metal. There are people running on where the grabbers have just gone and they're having a quick scope about it to see if they can find anything. And then they've got to quickly run off before the grabbers come back.
Oh, so like looters.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it weren't like fenced off.
No. It was
Really?
just left clean open. Obviously, I think the surrounding area, they might have evacuated or something,
Right,
just
okay.
because of the dust clouds and the smoke and all that.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've got people just running on, quickly finding, right, can I see anything? Can I see anything?
Yeah.
Oh shit, the grabber's coming back, leg it. How are you meant to have a proper investigation when you're doing that?
Yeah, because people could be taking vital parts of
Exactly.
evidence.
And
yeah.
fucking it off before anyone's even had a remote look, and that vital bit of evidence could, within detail, fully explain why the towers collapsed.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Mm. Oh, I see. And also, can you imagine, right? You're one of these people. You've got a bit of the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
You've got it at home. So you've got a busted up bit of brick.
Yeah.
People are going to come round and be like, what's that? They're like, it's from Twin Towers, mate. Like, that's a bit mad,
It's
isn't
a
it?
bit
Like,
weird, mate.
Yeah, like,
It's
what-
like, I'd get it if it was a
That's-
volcanic eruption. If
Yeah.
you've got a bit of Pompeii rock
Yeah.
or something. But it's like, that was a terrorist attack that killed 3,000 people.
Yeah, like, that's
Why are you
destroyed.
keeping it as memorabilia?
Yeah, that's destroyed families.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I can't get on with that.
And the thing is, as well, with the Twin Towers, they said obviously it weakens because of the aviation fuel, weaken the columns.
Yeah.
But there's recordings I've seen on documentaries where fire marshals that are right up where the plane had hit, and they're just talking about small isolated pockets of fire here and there. They said, if we get a hose up here, they're easy enough to put out.
Right.
So if there's small isolated pockets of
So,
fire that can
yeah.
easily be put out, how the hell was it big enough and strong enough
To then do
to
that.
weaken the steel
Yeah,
beam?
like you say, yeah, for small pockets, that wouldn't get to the heat
Exactly.
to then warp that
There
grade
was
of steel.
in no way would there be enough fire in them buildings to cause that to collapse.
No.
No way in hell.
And what always gets me as well is because they drop,
Yeah.
right? If you say you've built a Lego tower
Yeah.
and you throw a Lego plane
Yeah.
at it, it's not going to go straight down, is it? It
Of course
bends.
it's not. It's going to bend. And you just brought me onto something else. Like I said, Larry Silverstein, who was a guy who owned Building 7, which
Yeah.
I'll get onto in a minute.
Right.
But he then, a few months beforehand, I think it was the July of 2001, he bought the lease for the Twin Towers.
Right, okay.
He was caught in an interview, theoretically with his pants down, because he said that I'll refer to Building 7 and then I'll come back to the trade centres of
Okay,
what I'm
yeah,
getting
yeah,
out
yeah.
of this. So Building 7 was a 47 story tall steel frame building,
Right.
built exactly the same as the World Trade Centre,
Yeah.
The only difference is it weren't as tall.
Right, yeah.
Now, that building was on fire. There's videos of it, and you can blatantly see that thing is on fire. Not engulfed, but there's like, through the windows, you can see where there's flames here and there.
Okay, yeah, see the smoke and that, yeah.
Yeah, and they claim that was from the debris from the trade centre hitting Building 7.
Right.
Now, that building also collapsed that day.
Oh.
And not a lot of people know that. As a matter of fact,
I didn't know that.
The court case during, to do with 9/11, even the judge who was running the whole thing, even he said, "What's Building 7?"
Really?
Even he didn't know.
That's mad. I didn't know that. Like,
No.
I heard the Twin
It's the
Towers. I
yeah.
heard the Pentagon.
Third building that come down that day, and that come down around 5:20 in the afternoon, I think.
Right. And that was just because of debris.
Debris. Well, this is what they claim, right? Larry Silverstein had said in an interview that the fire marshal come to him and said, "We're really struggling to put this fire out." He turned around and said, "Well, there's been such a tragic loss of life today. I don't want to risk any more of your men putting their lives in danger to try and put this fire out. So let's just pull the building down." And that building falls exactly the same. You Google Building 7 collapse, and it is the most blatantly obvious controlled demolition explosion collapse you will ever see in your life, because it comes down, again, free fall speed, just boom, gone.
Like a deck of cards.
Like a deck of cards. It just falls perfect.
Wow.
3 things about that. 1, not one fire marshal or anything like that has come forward and said, "Yeah, I had that interview." And they've been asked countless times. Not once come forward and said, yeah, we had that interview.
Right.
2, you don't pull buildings down with fire marshals.
No.
You pull them down with controlled demolition experts.
Yeah.
And 3, and obviously the biggest one, you spend days or weeks putting the charges in the right places so that the building falls down on its own footprint and don't go smacking into other buildings.
Yeah. You can't do that in an afternoon.
And that building fell within 5:20 of the afternoon. So how the hell did they manage to get that so perfectly done? And the fire, when the building's collapsing, the fire is out before the building's even come down.
Right.
And when that building come down, and the trade centres, because obviously he leased them, I think he got I can't think of the exact number, but he got
it was 10 million.
10 million worth.
Yeah.
So it's like, you must have wanted that building pulled down.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking money.
Yeah.
But that must have been planned weeks in advance for the charges to be in the right places.
Yeah.
And for the whole bottom to be gutted
like
so the building comes down. Yeah.
Like an excuse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how would you have that excuse perfect unless you knew that was going to happen with the trade centre?
Yeah, no. Because you'd have to have planning. Because even though, it was getting evacuated and everything because of what was happening with the World Trade Centres, it'd still have to go through weeks
of pure planning to make sure you've got it figured out right.
Yeah, getting accepted. They ain't just going to say, "Yeah, all right."
Exactly.
Then. While this is all going on, take your building down.
Take that down while you're at it.
Yeah.
So I know you've got enough trouble with them big bastards over there, but just pull this building down as well, because that's just creating more rubble and more things to clear up.
Yeah, because I imagine their buildings had asbestos and everything.
Exactly. That's what's causing so many people to still die from it.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people ran inside when the dust clouds started going across the city, because they knew it was just full of asbestos and shit like that. But the way that building come down, you look at them simultaneously, the Building 7 coming down and the Trade Centre coming down, they're near on identical. The only difference is the top collapsed first at the Trade Centre. But they both fell in 10 seconds.
Yeah, like you say, free fall.
Free fall. So, because like you said, even with a Lego thing, it's going to hit, it's going to go left, it's going to go right, it's going to go back, it's going to go forward. It's not going to go straight down perfect.
Especially with steel.
Exactly.
It won't shear like that. It's got to be designed to handle stress, and it will bend.
Exactly. So I'll go on to the Pentagon next, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, whole conspiracy when it comes to 9/11.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest because there's so many key aspects to it.
Yeah, and it being the Pentagon.
The Pentagon.
Yeah.
And this is where I've got the most information on as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Because when every time I think of 9/11, I think the Twin Towers.
Mm-hmm. Which is natural.
Yeah.
2 tallest buildings in New York, or at least 2 of the biggest buildings in New York. Both been hit, both collapsed.
Yeah, and I think it's because of the death toll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the entire death toll of 9/11, excluding people that are still dying from cancer and that,
Right.
I think the death toll was around 3,000 people
Jesus Christ.
died on that day. It's just terrifying, but that's obviously in the buildings, the
Yeah.
planes, pieces of debris, the people that jump from the buildings.
Yeah, because that picture.
Yeah, which is horrible, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
Oh, that is it is heartbreaking to see that.
Yeah.
Like, and to think about it, really, like, because we all live our normal lives. We get up in the morning, we go to work, and to think like they got up that morning thinking everything was all right. They were thinking what they were going to have for tea that night or dinner, whatever you say.
There's a really
and never
interesting.
come home.
There's a really interesting story. Well, I wouldn't say interesting, but yeah, I would. Interesting story of this guy who was in the South Tower. His name was Stanley Premnath, I think.
Right.
He apparently saw fireballs coming off his office window where the North Tower had been hit.
Okay.
And he, so they evacuated their building. Well, they didn't evacuate it. They decided to up and leave.
Yeah.
The security guards, the security guards at the front of the tower stopped them from going. There's like, you're just going to get away of all the traffic and everything that's going on in the North Tower. Your building's secured. Just go back up to your offices, and we'll leave it at that. So, all right, cool. He went back up in the elevator. Apparently, his phone rang, and a woman who he sent home from his office was like, "Oh, I didn't want anyone to answer. You need to get out. Don't you know what's happening?" Because you got to think, at the time when the first plane hit, they just thought it was just a genuine accident. No one thought it was a terrorist attack.
No,
it was not until the second plane hit where it was like, okay, something's going on.
Yeah.
They just thought accident, whatever. And apparently he was on the phone to this woman looking out across towards the Statue of Liberty, and he saw the plane coming towards him, just getting bigger and bigger by the second.
Oh, wow.
And apparently he's just stood there frozen, didn't have time to react. And last second, he dove under his desk as the plane hit the building, and the wing, because it tilted, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah,
the bottom wing sliced right through his office, went right through, and there was a shard of it still stuck. His whole office collapsed. Obviously, the electrics were falling out, all the wires short circuiting. There was water from the plumbing, everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was his desk that he was under was the only thing that stood firm at that whole building.
Gee.
And
but yeah, he must have the luck of the Irish.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Just that's how terrifying it would have been. That's just one individual's case. There's thousands upon thousands.
Yeah.
But going back to the Pentagon, like I said, which was the biggest out of all of the conspiracies, this was the one where it's like, okay, this can't be true.
Right.
Because obviously there's the obvious ones where the size of the hole compared to the size of the plane, and how come it didn't go all the way through and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
I could be here for days talking about that.
We'll have to have another episode.
Yeah, we'll have to have another episode on that one. But one of the main points of it, if you look at the flight path, because the Pentagon was hit by United Flight 77. No, that's a lie. It was hit by American Flight 77.
Oh, right.
If you look at the flight path that took, it done this weird spiral. As it was going out towards its destination, it done this really weird spiral. Not just like a normal turn. It done this, like I said, really weird spiral. Like it, so precise, come back on itself.
Yeah.
And the pilot of that plane, well, the hijacker of that plane, was a guy called Annie Hanjour. This guy was that bad, that incompetent, and that shit. He was banned from from hiring out a single engine aircraft.
Oh wow!
Yet we're meant to believe that he done that spiral in a jumbo engine, in a passenger flight. And there've been countless of other American flight and United Flight pilots, even some of the most experienced, and even they've come out and said they couldn't have even done that spiral.
Really?
So how the fucking hell did he?
Yeah, I can't be just.
I know it's a case of, you've only got to get it done once. But if you're that shit at flying a single engine aircraft,
the odds.
Yeah, how the fucking hell are you going to be able to put it this way? Because quite a lot of hijackers went to flight schools and that beforehand,
right,
months beforehand in America, and so many United and American airline pilots have named them Dumb and Dumber because they were so shit. They were so awful at flying on the simulators.
Yeah.
How the fuck could you do it in the actual thing then?
That's right. Yeah. Like it can't be just like the odds of them being able to convict that
Exactly.
is
Like I said, okay, you only need to do it once.
yeah.
But if these experienced pilots can't do it,
Yeah, who have been flying all their lives. pretty
exactly.
much, yeah.
How the fucking hell can they when they've only had a few months of flight training?
Yeah, and they were bad at it.
And they were bad at it. But when the plane hit, it obviously went right down low to the ground and hit the front of the building. It hit a part of the building that was called Wedge 1.
Right.
Conveniently, Wedge 1 had undergone reinforcement not that long beforehand to withstand such an attack.
Oh, done well then.
Yeah, how convenient.
Yeah.
And if the plane had come from just normal flight and just come straight in,
Like bombed in.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would have hit the backer part of the plane, the Pentagon. And that's the bit where all the bigwigs were. All your army
right.
generals, all that. But
Yeah.
no, it had to do this fucking great big spiral and hit that one bit, didn't it? Of course it did.
Yeah. Convenient.
Yeah, how convenient. One of the main things is, did a plane even hit it?
Right.
Because if this guy who's so incompetent, how did he manage to get the plane that low without it crashing into the ground?
Yeah, because what?
And
Yeah,
perfectly
the
flying
drag would have.
straight into the building.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't know, but he somehow did it. The thing is, there are 84 cameras around the Pentagon alone.
Yeah.
And many of them are going to have footage of the plane hitting the building.
Right.
So why is it the only footage we've seen of the Pentagon is that shitty distorted camera so far back where you see a white flash and then the explosion?
Yeah.
Where are all the other footages of all the other cameras, even if so many got destroyed in the plane hitting the building?
They'd have had it on backup.
They would have
surely.
had backups on backups of all these different cameras spotted all around the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Many of them are going to have it on. But no, the one we get is the most blurred picture in history of just a quick flash. Now,
Yeah, no, seems a bit dodgy.
yeah, but it gets even more dodgy
Right.
because a former US Defense Secretary called Caspar Weinberger was asked in an interview. Oh no, they've got some mad names.
Yeah, I know.
They've got some mad names.
Weinberger. What do you like for your dinner?
Weinberger. He was asked in an interview about what's the security like around Washington, with it being the capital of the United States.
Yeah.
And he said the center of Washington, where the likes of the White House, the Capitol building, the Pentagon, all that, they are designated no-fly zones because of, obviously, there's so many different
Yeah.
parts in that specific part of Washington.
Right.
And if any plane goes into Washington and it doesn't broadcast the clearance code to be able to fly there, it's immediately shut down.
Oh, really?
And I'm not being funny, a hijacker isn't going to know, oh, I've got to, do you know what I mean, broadcast the clearance code. And even if he does know he's got to do that, he ain't exactly going to know how to do that.
Yeah.
If he's that shy.
And,
Or
does he even know what the clearance code
Exactly.
is? Yeah.
So why wasn't that plane shot down before it even managed to get to the Pentagon?
Yeah, can't say, oh, because it flew too quick.
Yeah.
It's a jumbo jet.
It's a jumbo...
Don't get me wrong, they're quick.
They're quick, but I'm pretty sure a fighter pilot or a missile was fucking quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't think this much into it, to be honest.
This is where I was like, you go down a wormhole with this sort of thing. Like I said, I started with the Trade Center. I was like, nah, they couldn't have collapsed. And then you go into the Pentagon and United 93, and it just keeps going and going and going. And this, going back to that whole centipede thing, now you see what every leg's got an Achilles heel. It just can't be right.
No.
And even if that plane was going quick or whatever, you got to think the people in the Pentagon are going to have a clue what's going on around New York.
Because surely,
because both trade centers were hit by this point. So you've watched on TV or news reports or whatever, you've watched two hijacked planes hit both towers, and then you've got a plane that's heading your way, not responding to any call or anything. It's not giving you a clearance code.
Yeah, you'd claim it.
You'd shoot the fucking thing down because you're thinking, this is another.
Hijacked. Yeah, you'd claim it's hijacked.
Another. So, again, why didn't they?
Yeah.
Unless they knew.
They can't just say because of innocent lives on the plane.
plane.
Don't get me wrong. They didn't deserve to die.
No, of course they didn't. Of course they didn't.
But being America, Washington, how sensitive with the president.
Exactly.
Very, very high up, important people of the country.
Exactly.
That would give them any reason to fire.
So, like we said, after the two planes have hit the towers, right?
Yeah.
That would be your obvious chance. Right, okay, get military over Washington.
Yeah.
Just to protect us. Even if they're not coming here.
They'd be in the
fucking air. They fought tooth and nail to even get the fucking planes in the air. And then when they did eventually do it, they were scrambled east, out towards the ocean.
Yeah, I did see something about
Why
that.
the fuck were they scrambled out that way?
No, yeah. Because didn't they claim they got wrong coordinates?
Yeah, they got wrong coordinates. But where NORAD, apparently, which is the North American Air Responsive Defense, something like that.
Right. Air defense.
Air defense, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Apparently, they broadcasted and said, no, get these fucking planes over Washington.
Yeah.
These planes that were scrambled out east come from Langley Air Base, which is 130 miles away from Washington.
Right, so fairly far away.
Fairly far away. However, there is an air base literally 10 minutes down the road from the Pentagon called Andrews Air Base.
Right, is that where Air Force One
That's
is?
where Air Force One comes and goes from, and any world leader, that's where they land.
Okay, yeah.
So you'd obviously have fighter pilots there.
Yeah.
And that's 10 minutes away from the Pentagon. So why weren't they scrambled from there? Why would they scramble from an airbase 130 miles away? And then even then went east?
Yeah. So, trying to get further away.
You're trying to almost cover your own tracks, basically, without looking at the obvious fucking holes in the plot.
That's right, yeah.
It's like you can try and question this as much as you want. You've seen two planes hit the trade center. Hit the trade center. You've got an unresponsive plane coming to the Pentagon. You're not taking any fucking chances. You're shooting that thing down.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right.
You're going to give it as many chances as possible, but you're like, right, we've given it too many chances. It's going to blatantly hit somewhere around here. Fucking bring it down.
Yeah.
So why didn't they? And during the time of 9/11, there was a series of war games going on. Do you know what that is?
Isn't that it's like over the internet and that, isn't it?
Kind of. It's basically where they're doing like practice drills and everything
Okay.
in certain situations.
Okay.
Two of the war games that were going on that day was one of hijacked aircraft.
Right.
And the other one was I don't know exactly what they were doing, but it included like a load of fake radars, plane radars.
Okay, yeah.
So when the fighter pilots were scrambled, they were asked multiple times between NORAD and the Air Traffic Control Center.
Yeah.
Were saying, look, you need to get some aircraft over Washington to protect us. And even they come back and said, what, is this real world or is this exercise? Because they thought it was still part of the war games going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they was like, no, this is real world. We're being deadly fucking serious. Basically, turn on the TV.
You
know
think
we're being serious.
They think it'd have like a code name for when it is
Exactly.
real. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And they also come out and said, well, we didn't know what planes were hijacked, so that's why we couldn't shoot them down. Well, you can make it a lot easier on yourself by turning the war games that have all the fake planes off.
Yeah.
Then they're gone, so you're like, right, these planes that are left on the radar, we know are legit planes.
Yeah.
Contact each and every single one of them, and if they respond, you know they're good. If they don't respond, you red flag it.
Yeah, exactly.
Why didn't they? And you can say, oh, people have come out and said, yeah, but they could have been panicking in this situation. They're trained to do this. They're trained for this situation.
Yeah, it's not like doing your driving test.
No.
You have a few lessons and that and
Exactly.
get out on the road.
They're
They have to go
years
extensive.
on years for this sort of situation.
Yeah, refreshers.
So how come when it finally happens, they all drop the ball?
Yeah.
They,
could it be in the case though, like, because you never think it's going to happen until it does,
you never think, yeah, exactly.
and it is that shock, like what we were saying at last episode on the Bigfoot one. Like, I'll never think, like, in my head, I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to find it and everything's going to be all great until I find it. Now I'm going to probably
Exactly.
shit myself. Could it be the same?
It could
with
be the
that?
same as that, but you'd like to think just one person,
Yeah,
general or something, would be like, no, come on, we got to get this going.
Yeah,
And especially after you've seen the Twin Towers hit, you'd do everything you can to protect the rest.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
You'd have planes all over Washington or any other major
also,
city
they'd be like wanting to land as
soon as possible.
Yeah,
It wasn't until the Pentagon was hit
right.
where the Air Traffic Control Center said, no, land all the planes.
Yeah,
Said, because we've got stuff flying around, we've got no control over it, and I don't want a board full of every plane hitting every fucking building around this area. So land them all. And even they were questioning, saying, well, it's going to cost billions to do it. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Just do it.
Yeah, if it's going to save lives, you do what's
It's like,
needs.
shut off every international airspace. No one is coming into this country. No one is going out of the country.
Yeah.
Land every plane. Then that way, you know, the ones that are still flying you know they're the ones
They're dodgy.
They're the dodgy ones.
Yeah.
It's just, you look at so many key factors about this whole thing, and it's so many, and even they're getting questions during it.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you not seeing this logically? Who
Yeah.
cares if it's going to cost billions? Would you rather it cost billions of pounds or billions of lives?
Yeah.
Pick one.
Yeah, it is like 2 plus 2 equals fucking 54.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's not right. It's not adding up.
No, of course it ain't. As well, going back to the Pentagon,
Yeah.
it's known fact they've got ground-to-air missiles to protect it from aircraft.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. If
I was going to ask it, have they got...
they
you
got
know,
ground-to-air missiles ready. So even if the landing flight pilots have gone the other way, the second you see that plane, you're like, right, fucking fire a missile at it.
It's in range.
Yeah.
You take
Hit it.
It's going down.
Yeah. So it's just all these. You got all these things where it's like, you've got two planes. I know I keep going back to it. You've got two planes. They've hit the towers. You've got another plane heading for Washington. It's not responding. It's flying in a no-fly zone. It's not giving you the fucking clearance code.
Yeah.
What else needs to happen for you to shoot that fucking thing down?
The only thing is they had a banner on the outside saying we're coming to blow you up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The only thing they can turn around and say is, yeah, but the innocent passengers on that plane, yeah, you're right, they don't deserve to die.
No.
But neither does the countless other people that are going to die on the fucking ground.
Yeah. Yeah. In your building. Which brings one to a question. Like, Wedge 1 you said got hit?
Wedge 1.
What was in there?
I don't really know. I know
Right.
it weren't a major part. I think it could have been even something like an IT department or something. It could have been something so simple like that.
Or was it like records? Like, did it have like records in there?
I think it did, yeah.
Could there be records of like Bigfoot?
There could be.
There
could be.
They thought, fuck, they're on us. We'll get a plane in there.
It turns out it was a Bigfoot that flew the fucking plane into it. It's like, you're not getting us, dickhead.
Imagine sitting in an airport and it's just like a Bigfoot sitting there with a big raincoat on. Like, and then like, oh, fuck, he's big old boy.
Yeah. Like, all right, mate. Yeah. Where are you going? Oh, I'm not going anywhere. Where are you going? Oh, I'm going to, I don't know, Spain. Where are you? Pentagon. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You didn't see me.
Yeah. Just keep it stum, okay? I won't hear.
Yeah.
But on Flight 77 was a woman called Barbara Olson. She was married to Ted Olson, who was the Bush administration solicitor general.
Right, what's
But
that?
basically, their solicitor.
Okay.
When it comes to anything legal, he was the top dog.
Okay, yeah, everyone would run
And
by
his
him.
wife, Barbara, was on Flight 77.
Right.
And she apparently called her husband from the flight onto the ground. And it was from those alleged phone calls where the whole idea of Stanley knives and that come from.
Oh, right.
So no one else mentioned them. It was from her phone calls that said, yeah, they got Stanley knives.
Right.
Because apparently Ted said, well, can't you revolt it? Can't you stop them? It's like, no, they got Stanley knives. They've already stabbed the passenger. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Two things about that. One, have you ever tried to use a phone on a plane?
No.
Right. Well, even in today's technology, it's near on impossible to get signal.
Right, okay. And also, don't they make sure it's always on flight mode?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but that's like with today's phones.
That's today. But with that technology nowadays, you think it back in 2001.
Yeah.
The technology in them phones wouldn't have been half as good as what we got nowadays.
No.
So the signal in that, especially that high of an
What
altitude.
about satellite phones, though?
Well, this is where I was getting to.
Oh, okay.
Because originally it was she called from a cell phone.
Right.
But you're not going to get that signal up there. 30,000 feet in the air.
No.
With 2001 style phones, you're not going to get that good of a signal. It's going to keep cutting and going.
Right.
So they changed the story again and said it was from a satellite phone.
Right.
Now, as I said, American 77 was obviously an American flight. That's the name of the company.
Right.
Satellite phones have been taken out of American flights by the time of 9/11.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. So how the fucking hell... They were in United flights, but they weren't in America.
Could she have her own?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Very well, maybe.
Because, I mean, she's very high. Even though she might not actually have anything to do with the president, right?
Yeah.
Because of her husband and that, she's going to have, like, special clearance of some kind.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And she might be able to have a satellite phone on her in case of any, like, disaster. Say, like, the plane crashed anyway, but they survived.
Mm-hmm.
she could have that courage to get help, get rescue.
Yeah. Well, carrying on with the satellite phones, we'll go to United 93 because they were still in there at the time.
Right.
Well, originally, apparently, it was claims that the calls were made from mobile cell phones.
Right.
From the passengers finding out. Because obviously, you've got to think this is the plane that was revolted against the hijackers.
Yeah.
So obviously, they're going to be calling the ground. They're going to be calling whoever, trying to get an idea of what's going on. Originally, like I said, it was meant, apparently, they use cell phones.
Right.
And then, like we said, you're not going to have
very good signal
that high of an altitude. So the story changed, and they were used from satellite seatback phones, right? Where you put your card in, put the details in, you can call the ground. On United 93, there was a guy called Tom Burnett, and he called his wife, and apparently she said in multiple interviews, she saw the phone ringing, and it showed Tom's phone number.
Right.
But how the fuck is his phone number coming through if he used a cell phone?
Or if you use the...
Yeah, if he used a satellite phone, how the fuck is his cell number coming through?
Yeah, no, that's a bit suspect.
Exactly. And even in today's technology, it'd be nigh impossible to maintain a call from that high up. The signal would be cutting down constantly. You got to think as well, phone calls and that around the whole air time of that would be coming down to and fro because the national grid would be overpowered.
Yeah.
And people trying to call loved ones or find out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. No, that is right.
So, again, like I said, they changed it to satellite phones.
Yeah.
One person who did use a satellite phone was called Todd Beamer. He called the Verizon... The satellite phones were run by a company called Verizon.
Right.
He called one of the operators called Lisa Jefferson. And she said it was so bizarre because there were phone calls going around all over the place. And his never lost signal.
Right, okay.
Even other satellite phones were losing signal, but his was clear as day. To the point, apparently, when the connection breaks in these phones, there's like a squeal sound.
Okay.
And that's how you know it's gone.
Yeah.
His never done that. Even, I think, not necessarily hours. Yeah, I think it was hours after United 93 had supposedly crashed.
Oh.
His signal still stayed on.
What? But he weren't talking.
He weren't talking.
No.
But the signal was still there.
Oh. Yeah, you'd have thought as soon as that crashed, that's
the thing. The whole point of the satellite phones is they get their power from the engine of the plane. So if the plane goes down, the phone should immediately cut off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's right.
So why didn't his?
Yeah.
And as well, even if that wasn't the case, Todd Beamer's cell phone, after it hit United 93 had crashed, had 19 outgoing calls made on it.
Well, after the crash.
After the crash. So you're telling me the plane's crashed, the phone's intact, someone's found it, picked it, and decided to ring someone on it.
Yeah, because it said, there was no survivors.
No, there was no survivors. But it had 19 outgoing calls made on it. Not incoming. No one tried ringing them.
Did it ever say...
That phone rang someone.
Right, and it don't say who it...
It don't say who it is.
Right, okay.
And apparently this Lisa Jefferson asked multiple times if he wants to get put through to Todd Beamer's family. He never did. He just stayed on the phone to her. Which, by this point, the time they're ringing and everything, you know what's going on.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen.
You think you'd want to call your family.
Yeah. You want to say your last goodbyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why didn't he?
But could it be his head... Like, he just weren't he weren't thinking straight?
It could have been. It very well could have been.
But then again... You'd think he'd be like calling his family before ringing Verizon.
Exactly.
Like, it's like the first thing you think of.
Exactly.
You're not be like, right, I'll
especially, you could maybe call Verizon in the first place because I think the way they work is it goes through, like how a prison phone call works. Where if you call it a prison, it will say like, oh, this is from...
Like the old fashioned where they pull it out and put it in.
Yeah, they've got to put it... It could be something similar like that. Whereas, so obviously it would go through to the call... The call would go through to the operator first, and they'd be like, "Oh, can you patch me through to blah 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 blah?"
Yeah,
and in that case, you could be panicked and just think, "I just need to talk to someone."
Yeah.
But the second you knew what was going on around the world, well, not around the world, around the country, you'd think, "Right, put me through to my fucking family now."
Yeah.
And even if he was so panicky and he couldn't get the words out, she asked him, multiple times, "Do you want me to put you through to your family?" No.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, it's not adding up, is it?
No, exactly. And there's so many stories about this. I mean, I'm not going to turn around and say the whole aircraft revolt was bollocks, because it wasn't, because it's obviously proven. There's even, you've got to find certain ones on YouTube, but you can even hear what was going on around the time.
Oh, there's that audio.
Yeah, there's audio of when the plane was hijacked and when it's crashing.
Yeah.
And another common thing with, I think at least two of the flights, I know American 11 done it and United 93 done it. They ended up transponding to air traffic control when they thought they were talking to the passengers.
Ah, right.
Which,
well,
yeah.
if it's from them two fucking idiots, what couldn't?
Well, apparently one of them was.
Ah, right.
Apparently one of them was.
So he could have done it by mistake, because he don't know what
Yeah.
he's doing, does he? So he'd be like, he'd think he's pressing
called-
the passenger button, but he's
But
actually...
he'd done it 3 times.
Right.
The first time he'd done it, he got a response from air traffic control saying, "Hello, who's this? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Confirm where you are."
Yeah, confirm who you are.
So obviously they'd hear that, so he knows, oh shit, I've blatantly pressed the wrong button. So why would you press it again and then again after that?
Because you didn't know which button he pressed.
Yeah,
You might be pressing
he's
all the
fucking
buttons.
dumb.
You don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, you could be pressing all the buttons. And he's thinking,
But if
I've
these-
got some sort of response.
But if these
Which one
guys
was
are
it?
so incompetent, how the fucking hell were they able to fly these planes in the first place and know exactly where they're going? Because they
Yeah.
weren't, with each of these planes, they weren't heading for the destinations where they hit the buildings.
Yeah, no, it's
They
not
were
like...
heading every other way.
Yeah, and it's not like they had like good sat
No,
navs.
as a matter of fact, I think the two that hit the train centre, they were heading for LA.
Oh,
And they come from Boston.
Oh, it's a completely wrong way.
Completely wrong way. So they've known exactly where to turn it, where to go,
Yeah.
to hit the towers and that.
And to hit him with such precision,
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
You know, like, even though, yeah, they're massive towers, the plane would still have to go
Yeah.
on its side to
And
to
that
go
low
into.
altitude as well, it would have been going, the turbulence would have been insane.
Madness, yeah.
Because even fighter pilots don't fly that low.
No, they can't.
They can't. So the turbulence, you've got to think, you basically, it's like driving along a bumpy road and you said, right, you've got to hit that target dead on.
Yeah.
And you're like, fucking hell, it's going.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nightmare to control.
Yeah.
Another point of it, because you obviously know what George Bush was doing that day, right?
What was it? Oh, when he at school.
He was in a school.
Yeah.
Well, weeks after, or even months after, he was asked, I think by a kid. I think it was by a kid who asked him. And he said, what were you doing? What were your original thoughts when that plane hit? And he apparently turned around and said, well, I knew as the President of the United States and the Commander-in-Chief that this was serious. However, when I saw the first plane hit the building, I thought, what a terrible pilot. Well, hang on a minute, because there's only one camera that has caught the first plane going in.
Yeah.
And that was a film crew filming the New York Fire Department for a documentary.
Right.
And as they heard it going overhead, they turned the camera and saw it hit.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have seen that footage because that didn't come out until months after 9/11.
Oh, right.
And then he said, when the second plane went in, that's when I realised it was serious.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't even see the second plane go in because you was in a fucking classroom
Reading the story.
reading the story to a load of kids, and one of your what's the word I'm looking for? One of your security come in, leant into your ear, and told you that a second plane had hit the second tower.
Yeah.
And even after that, you still sat there in that classroom for a good 5-10 minutes afterwards.
Right.
Which I know, okay, you don't want to get up and go, oh shit, see you later, kids, because the kid's going to panic.
Yeah.
But you give it a minute or so and go, right, sorry, kids, something's come up. I got to go.
Yeah.
Okay? So why were you still sat there?
Yeah, it's very blasé.
Yeah, you're blatantly out and out lying because you didn't see either fucking plane hit the buildings.
No.
Because one, the camera...
So did he say he saw footage of the first?
He saw footage of the first... He said to this kid, when I saw that first plane hit, I thought, what a terrible pilot.
Could he got his words mixed up and just say instead of let's
George Bush. It is George Bush.
Yeah.
But even by the time he saw that footage, he would have known exactly what was going on. So you
Right.
wouldn't have thought, what a terrible pilot. Because you know it's
Yeah,
a terrorist
you
fucking
knew it was
aiming
a
for the
terrorist
cunt.
attack. Yeah.
So it's like, why
But
are you
unless he
out
didn't
and
wanna-
out lying?
If it was a kid, he didn't want to tell him it's a terrorist. Like he could have been like.
Yeah, but by then the kid would have known it's a terrorist.
Possibly, yeah, true.
Because
true.
it would have been. It was worldwide then.
Yeah, it's well known.
The kid would have known. Whether he might not know the exact details, but he would have known a terrorist who flew that plane into the building. Even if he don't know what a terrorist is, he knows that plane flew in that building on purpose.
Yeah, it was meant to.
So you can't turn around and go, "What a terrible pilot."
Yeah.
Because know
that's disrespectful as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your first thought is, "What a terrible pilot," not, "Oh shit, God knows how many lives have just been lost."
Yeah. How many families have just been destroyed?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you just out and out lying all the fucking time?
Right. So with United 93, they were armoured Stanley blades.
Yeah.
Right.
And apparently one of them had a bomb around his waist, which was proven to be fake.
Okay. Because I remember I watched there was a film, weren't it, about it?
Yeah.
But anyway, wouldn't you have thought, right, if they were just armoured Stanley blades and maybe a suicide vest, but the passengers knew they were going to die anyway, whatever way it was going, they were going to lose their lives.
Yeah.
There was no two ways about it. And then they did get it back in the finish, but wouldn't you have thought as soon as they started like getting up?
I think at the time that happened, they didn't know what was going on elsewhere.
No, but even after because they announced what they were doing, they were hijacking the plane.
Yeah.
You'd have thought they'd have still attacked them.
Yeah, or at least one person.
Yeah, because a Stanley blade, because people there would have had jackets. Because it was October, it was getting a bit nippier.
Yeah.
You know, so they'd have had coats and jackets. You wrap one of them up, a Stanley blade, you ain't going to get cut by that Stanley blade.
No, of course you ain't.
You know, so...
even if a Stanley blade hits you in the chest, it's not going to get to your heart or anything. Do you know what I mean? Because the blade's not big enough.
No. So you'd have thought they'd have fought back sooner.
Yeah.
Because by the time they took it back, it was too late, pretty much. Yeah. Wasn't it? It was already descended in.
Well, it was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
At the time, so it was like it weren't far from Washington.
No, but it was already when they took it back over, it was already too late.
Well, apparently they were. So one of the women, one of the widows of one of the 9/11 passengers. Apparently, she said they were waiting until they was over a rural area to take it back.
Okay. Which, yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah, because then if they knew they weren't going to be able to control the plane,
at least
it weren't going to hit another building or cause a greater death.
Exactly. And even the hijackers themselves were debating it, because when they got basically to the front of the plane, like you've seen in the films, which people might think, oh no, that's just because it's a film. No. If you hear the actual recordings, they got to the front of the plane. You can hear them ramming the fucking door, trying to rip it off.
Yeah.
And one of the terrorists says, "Is that it? Shall we do it?" And he goes, and the other one goes, "No, wait until they all come, and then we crash it."
Right.
And then when you can hear them, like it's getting louder and louder, and they're like, "Right, put it in and pull it down." So in other words, boom.
Yeah.
And then that's when it crashed.
Oh, right.
So even they were debating, what the fuck do we do here?
Yeah. Oh, so the actual terrorists bombed the plane down?
Yeah. It weren't the passengers.
Oh.
The terrorists, whether they made it actually in the cockpit or not, I'm not too sure. But I know they made it to the door, trying to rip the door down. And it was the terrorists that said, wait for them all to come here and then throw it into the ground. Because they know by that point, they're not making it to the Capitol building.
Yeah.
So it's just like, fuck this.
But also... Right, because I think all planes, their cockpit door is locked from the pilot side. So
even in today's flight, if you sit near the front and you can see the cockpit door, you'll notice the flight attendants knock on the door and they open it.
Yeah, could that have been because of 9/11 or was that before?
I'm not too sure. I think it was before, you know. Because any old Tom, Dick, or Harry could just walk in otherwise.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, like, if you got terrorists, because they're not speaking perfectly good English,
of course
are they? You know, saying open up, you're just going to lock it and be like...
Exactly.
No, I'm going to find a safe space to land this plane.
Yeah. You can hear them screaming, because, like I said, there's audio recordings of them saying, you can hear the flight captain saying, get out of it, and you can hear the terrorists screaming in their language.
Yeah.
In the film, I know they do it where they hold one of the stewardess hostage and she knocks on the door. but you'd still hear all the screaming and everything going on in the
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
You'd still know some shit's going on. And plus, if everyone's then up and all, jumping, panicking, the plane's going to shake.
Yeah.
So you'd feel that as well.
Yeah, you feel disturbed.
And before it, they even got a message from the air traffic control saying, beware of a cockpit intrusion because 2 planes have hit the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
So you've got that message. Planes jolting where people are moving about.
Yeah,
you hear screaming, and then there's a knock on the door.
You'd lock
You
that...
wouldn't open that fucker.
No, you'd be like, oh, I wonder who this is.
Yeah.
You're going to lock that
And
door.
I'm pretty sure the majority of them have like a eye hole, don't they? Like
like,
you look
like a
through.
peephole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you look through that peephole, see shit's going down, and be like, I'm sorry, we cannot open this plane.
No.
Open this door because we know what's going to happen. It's like, a sad reality of it is, chances are they're probably going to kill everyone in the plane if they can't get in.
Yeah.
But at least they ain't taking the plane and they ain't fucking flying it into somewhere else.
No, where it's going to cause a greater death toll.
Exactly, this is what I mean. There's so many stories, and I know it is, some of them are hindsight.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay,
but there's
that could
so
have been
many better outcomes. What could have happened
exactly.
as well.
And even pilots, passengers, you can make the example from because they ain't trained to do this. They ain't planned to. But I'm pretty sure even pilots must have some form of protocol of what to do.
Yeah.
If hijacking occurs.
Yeah, because hijackers has happened before.
It has happened before.
Yeah.
It's never to this extent and never this bad. 9 times out of 10, they end up landing and wanting demands or some shit.
Yeah, but
But they still wouldn't.
They still have hijacking training.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if, like you say, hijackers have happened before, so it makes me wonder. I think there must have been like the doors would have locked from the pilot side.
Exactly.
You're not going to be like, well, we better just give them what they want.
No.
Because then you're going to get yourself killed and thousands of
Exactly.
Because whatever's going to happen, you're going to die at that point. If as soon as you open that door, you're
gone. Which
dead.
I think they were.
Yeah.
I think they were killed. Because
Yeah.
obviously, otherwise, the pilots could just fight back and take it back.
Yeah.
And they'll know exactly what they're doing.
Exactly, yeah. So that makes me question that a lot. Because as a human, like, we always want to feel like a hero, be selfless, but 9 times out of 10, a lot of people are going to be more selfish. And that include them pilots.
Exactly.
They'd have been like, I'm sorry, people.
Exactly.
Some of you may die.
If they didn't
I want to live.
if they didn't get the message, then maybe you could make the case for that.
Yeah.
But the fact they got a message beforehand saying 2 planes have hit the fucking World Trade Center, beware of someone trying to come in the cockpit.
Yeah.
You would not open that door.
No, you
You'd
would
be like,
lock
I'm sorry to every single person back there, but I cannot risk them getting control of this plane.
You would lock it,
God knows what they're
barricade
going to
it.
do.
Yeah, lock it, barricade it, do what you must. No one's going through that door.
Exactly. So what do you believe happened then? What do you reckon
Well,
is the official, not the official story, but what do you think happened?
well, like, do I think it's conspiracy or
Yeah.
do I think it is just a terrible
Yeah.
not accident, but a terrible
Yeah.
incident? What
Yeah.
happened? At first, I thought that, when I first heard, not heard about it, but first thought about it, I thought, oh my god, it's evil. Evil people have done this. But then, as I've grown older and I got into construction, especially groundworks and working with concrete and that, and then also going into engineering with steel, working with steel, it made me think like hitting the World Trade Center, because like I said, that's always what I thought about with 9/11, and how it just collapsed like a demolition.
Exactly.
It just didn't add up.
It don't add up, the whole thing. And there's been even court cases in recent time. And there's been, I can't think, there's a comedian that does it. And he goes up to the government and he's like, you have failed your people. It's like, he's just going in on them.
Yeah,
saying, you failed all these fucking people because you didn't do your job, basically.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, what's common, I don't mean no disrespect here, but what's common with America? You think arguably one of the safest places, and not government-wise and everything and terrorist-wise, you think one of the safest places in the world because of the amount of things they've got at their disposal.
Yeah.
Like your fighter jets, your air-to-ground missiles, you've got the president, all that,
Yeah,
bunkers, all that sort of shit.
Oh, they're gunned up to the teeth.
Exactly. So how the fuck, even in 2001, how was this possible?
able to happen.
How was this able to happen?
No,
It can't be right.
And also, didn't Bin Laden or isn't it mad? We mentioned him once.
No.
And he's meant to be the orchestrator of this.
Well, he actually wasn't.
Oh, weren't he?
He was obviously the leader of Al Qaeda. The person who orchestrated it was a guy called Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, or KSM.
All right.
And it was his network and that. He was the one that orchestrated the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Oh, so Bin Laden's just a face.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay.
And the thing is, you know who Alex Jones is, don't you?
Yeah. Bit of a mad fuck.
Bit of a mad fucker. But before that, I don't know if it was in 2000 or if it was the early 2001, but he even mentioned, he said, there will be a terrorist attack in America.
Yeah.
He said, it wouldn't surprise me if it's the World Trade Center, and we know you're going to use Bin Laden as the boogeyman. We know you're going to use him as the villain.
Yeah. But I was going to say, but didn't Bin Laden or Al Qaeda say, like, we are going to attack?
We are going to attack them.
So as soon as they say that, you
exactly.
take
It's
that.
like, if you know this guy's such a problem, why the fuck is he able to do this?
But it's saying if it's such a problem in 1979, when the Cold War was going on and the Soviet Union were attacking Afghanistan, America helped the Afghani people.
Exactly.
Sent them weapons, and their general was none other than Osama bin Laden.
Exactly.
So that
all the pieces
meant to be an
add up.
meant to be an ally. As then all of a sudden he's become corrupt. He's become an evil man.
Yeah.
Who said we're going to attack your country at some point, and then on September 11th, 2001, his people orchestrated the greatest terrorist attack
this planet has
ever seen to date.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, how does that happen?
And there's just
there's
so many other bits as well. Like, when it comes to Bin Laden, if he was so known, he wouldn't have been able to do this.
No.
Impossible. And so many of these hijackers had been going to and from America.
Yeah. You'd put them on a watch list,
Yeah, exactly.
You? I'm not trying to sound racist.
No, but you would. If you know there's an imminent attack coming, you don't know exactly when, how, or where.
No, exactly.
But you'd have your precautions.
Yeah.
Especially after the 93 bombing, which was done by terrorists.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd think, this has got to be, you know what I mean? We got to have this on lock so we know if it happens again, what the fuck we're doing. It just seemed like everyone was running around with their fucking head up their ass.
It was a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
It was a massive clusterfuck. When that first plane hit, everyone just put their heads in the sand and all ran around screaming.
Yeah. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Why did they do that? Which, again, with the first one, could have been an accident. Blatantly could have been an accident. But before that plane hit, they knew it was hijacked.
Yes, they surely...
even then, alarm bells would have been ringing.
Do you know where it got hijacked? Because if it was going pretty much in the opposite to a different part of the country...
going in the opposite direction. I know it weren't long after it took off. It was hijacked.
Right. So that had more than enough time to have an army response.
Exactly.
For fighter jets to pretty much shoot. What's the word I'm looking for? Like parry them off to a safe space. Even if they had to parry them off to the middle of the ocean, shooting down.
Yeah. Well, the pilots that scrambled in the Langley Air Base.
Yeah.
They didn't know what they were getting scrambled for.
You'd have thought.
So NORAD told Langley Air Base, scramble some aircraft, get them over Washington or New York or whatever, and protect them. They've then gone, yeah, okay, turned around and gone, okay, scramble. Wait, why? Where are we going? Just scramble. Yeah, but where we go? No, just scramble. No wonder they headed east towards the fucking ocean.
Yeah.
They didn't have a clue what they were doing. And 9 times out of 10, I suppose, with military, when you think scramble aircraft, you do think, right, so there's obviously attack coming from the sea.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
So
you don't think
it's that way.
Yeah, you don't think it's your own aircraft that's actually doing it.
No, exactly. But they were told it's their own fucking aircraft.
Yeah.
So it's like
you want to be if anything, they'd be headed inland.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
So much of it don't add up.
No.
That's the whole sad reality of it, and that's why I'm like, I don't want to come into this podcast from a disrespectful point of view. But it's not so much don't add up.
No, we're trying to find justice.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
These people that
so these innocent people that have been butchered.
Yeah.
In such a horrific
manner.
Manner.
Yeah.
And the
families have been
government
torn.
are clearly covering something.
Yeah, there is a higher plan.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a higher plan.
I know I referred to him earlier, David Icke. And he put forward one thing that I think is the reason this happened. Okay? And he said it's a blatant use of a theory that he called problem, reaction, solution.
Right.
So basically, what's that mean? You want to change the world in a certain way, but you know you can't outwardly come out and do that because you're going to get a pushback. You're going to have people revolt against you.
Yeah.
So you have a situation occur, which then gives you the reason to react against that solution, react against that problem, which offers you the solution to it. And he said there's another obvious one, whether it's legit or not, I don't know. But he said there's a way you can look at it with World War II, with Pearl Harbor. Because obviously, president at the time World War II was Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah.
But obviously there was an election during that sort of time period. And one of his main policies was that he said to the men and women of America that your boys are not going to fight in that war in Europe.
No.
But he knows they are, theoretically. He knows they are. But he can't come out and say, yeah, we're going into that war in Europe, because it's like, well, what the fuck are you doing that for? The US people, yeah, it's like, keep us the fuck out of it. So what happens? Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, Japanese.
And if you've watched the Pearl Harbor film or looked up TV shows or documentaries or anything on Pearl Harbor, it's exactly the same with 9/11. They knew that an attack from Japan was imminent.
Yeah.
They knew that was coming. So how was it allowed to happen? Unless you look at it from Roosevelt's point of view, where he can then turn around and go, well, you know, I didn't want to go into this war in Europe. I told you I didn't. But we can't have this.
Yeah, you can't have the attacking our boys.
They need to answer for this. Problem, reaction, solution.
It does seem very...
Where you look at it from the 9/11 point of view, they've wanted... How long before 9/11 did they want to invade like Iraq and that?
Yeah, it's always been...
And they claimed it was because of the weapons of mass destruction, which were proven to be utter bollocks. I keep going to say the British public, but it's not. It's the US public.
US public, yeah.
Come out and say, well, no, why do you want to invade them for?
Yeah,
what,
you'd be
what
classed. Yeah, you'll get classed as
9/11 happens. Well, then they need to answer for that.
Yeah.
Which made no sense with Iraq, because not a single one of the fucking hijackers was from Iraq.
No.
Bin Laden's not from Iraq.
No.
Khaled Sheikh Mohammed is not from Iraq.
Pakistan.
Pakistan, Afghanistan, quite a lot of them. I think a few were like from Lebanon or Syria or some places like that.
Right.
So why the fuck are you invading Iraq? Do you know what I mean? So many.
But could it be also... Because I mentioned earlier about 1979 when the US helped Afghanistan against the Soviet Union. Could it be like a debt thing?
Maybe.
Like, they say, like, we'll help you, but you're going to have to pay us back at some point.
Yeah.
So then they still couldn't afford it. They pretty much said, right, well, we're going to do something.
Yeah.
What's going to make everyone hate you, and we're gonna come and fuck you up. And then they do this.
Which I think Bin Laden come out and said the reason they did it was because of the US influence in Afghanistan.
Right.
Which, even in today's terrorist attacks, that 9 times out of 10 tends to be the case, doesn't it?
Yes.
They want to be left alone. Leave us to do our thing. Fuck off or we're going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that is the reason Bin Laden done this, why are you invading Iraq?
Yeah, you're going to the completely wrong country.
You're going to the complete wrong fucking country. I know you want to topple the regime of Saddam Hussein and that, but you can't use 9/11 as that excuse, because Iraq had nothing to do with it.
No.
And that's why I say, when I'm coming at it from a non-disrespectful point of view, I mean all the innocent people in Iraq and places like that, that have been killed, justified by this shit.
Yeah, like we can't like picture ourselves being in them countries.
No.
But, you know, innocent people. You're trying to live your day-to-day life, but you're in fear of getting blown up, of getting shot, just because of where you live.
Exactly.
And that is disgusting.
And even in recent time with Syria, the exact same thing. But going back to Syria and trying to link it in, you'll see where I'm going from. You look at Syria, the destruction that place looked at. You've seen buildings where it's like, okay, they've been destroyed, but they're still intact. Yeah, and they've had airstrike after airstrike after airstrike hit them.
Yeah.
And they're still standing.
Yeah.
So how the fucking hell did the Trade Center collapse?
Yeah, that is it. Yeah, no, that is exactly right. It was like, yeah, like I said, when I saw the video of the Twin Towers collapsing, it looked like a demolition.
It was most blatant. And
also, weren't there witnesses that come out and said they actually heard an explosion just before the plane hit?
Yeah. And there's one video, whether it's just the camera angle, I don't know, but you can see just before the second plane hits the second tower, there's a flash.
Yeah.
Just before the plane hits.
Oh,
I mean,
I think I've seen that.
Plane
Milliseconds, weren't it?
Just a quick flash. Well, what's that flashing at? Because the shade, it wouldn't be shade from the fucking plane because the shade would have been to the side of the plane and the plane hasn't hit it yet.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I have seen that. It does seem. It seems like a controlled explosion.
Exactly.
With a plane added to the mix.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, people that are coming out and saying the plane didn't hit it did. Okay.
Yeah, no, that is bollocks.
The plane hit them.
Yeah, the plane
definitely hit the Trade Center. Whether it hit the Pentagon or not, different story. But the Trade Center, it hit.
The thing is, like, that plane what hit the Pentagon, or the plane to hit the Pentagon, it hit somewhere because there were innocent people on there
on that plane
who have passed, who sadly lost their lives.
Exactly.
So that must have gone somewhere.
That must have gone somewhere, but that might not necessarily have hit there. Because it couldn't. I can't get my head around the fact it couldn't get that low. It was basically on the fucking road.
Yeah.
And managed to go straight through the front door, pretty much.
Yeah, the drag, the air drag, and
exactly. Just physics alone would stop that from happening.
The nose would have hit
the floor. You get that low, it would scrape and it would hit and it would bounce. It would fucking go here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, it'd ricochet.
And if you're gonna hit the Pentagon,
you're
not gonna hit it dead straight level. You're gonna go. You're gonna fly down. You're gonna bomb it. Hit it. Yeah. Dive bomb it.
You're gonna kamikaze it.
Exactly.
So that makes me. Yeah, that does make me wonder.
And on top of that, you've got such an incompetent pilot.
Doing it to do that. Yeah.
It's like, how can you expect us to believe this shit?
No, that is exactly right.
It's like you're taking the piss. You're disrespecting every innocent man, woman, and some cases child
that
has died on that. And taking us all for a bunch of fucking mugs.
Yeah, it's idiots. There's people that are going to lie down and accept it.
And so many of the like widowers or like families of the victims were offered settlements, out of court settlement.
Right.
And so many turned around and said no.
That's just dodgy in itself. When you get
and so many turned around, rightfully so. I mean, I'm not going to say that disrespectfully because the ones that did accept it, do you know what I mean? Fair enough.
Yeah.
But so many said, no, we want our day in court. We want to find out what the fuck happened here.
Yeah, why was there no... It's just like ignorance, blatant ignorance against them.
And even with the 9/11 Commission, which was like the final report of 9/11, I think that came out 2-3 years afterwards.
Yeah.
Even they didn't do justice enough.
No.
They just went with the official story and just...
Because it was the easy story.
It was the easy story. But when you start looking it from an outsider point of view, and you look at every individual bit, I mean, I've mentioned just some key things. There are hundreds upon hundreds of every individual things.
Yeah.
There's books and all sorts of controlled demolition experts, steel workers, and they're all, if you put all them stories together, the official story just cannot be true.
No, there's too...
So what on
too
earth
many weaknesses
happened?
Yeah. That is all the people want to know.
Mm-hmm. And the problem is, the sad reality of it is, I don't think we'll ever know.
No, not in our lifetime.
And the only reason is because I think if it did come out, that would create a domino effect for every single government on this planet.
Yeah, it would.
Because it's like, if you've lied about this,
what else
have you lied about?
Yeah.
You would never trust a single government again.
No.
Even...
It'd be anarchy.
The government would collapse.
Yeah.
Because no one would trust them. No one would listen to them. You'd have riots. There'd be all sorts. Assassination attempts, the lot.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's why the sad reality of it is, I don't think we're ever going to get the truth.
No. Not in our lifetime anyway.
No.
Because every 100 years they release...
every 100 years they legally have to release it.
Yeah.
But it's the US government.
Yeah.
They can fucking twist that shit any way they want.
Yeah, they can do whatever.
They can fiddle with it here and there, take bits out that they don't want necessarily, and go, here you go, yeah, you wanted it, here it is.
Yeah.
But then that's not the truth.
No, that is it. But that's all it is. I mean, it shouldn't come to people like me and you, like ordinary people trying to work this out.
Well,
it shouldn't come to that. That's the thing,
right? Like you just said, it shouldn't come to normal people like me and you. And there's other podcasts, there's other videos, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
If we can take the official story and deconstruct it and prove that it's not, prove that it's bollocks, where the fucking hell have all the major news companies and that been for the past 20 years?
Oh, it's all under the backhanders
exactly.
and stuff, innit? Yeah, it's got to be.
It's like slipping my fiver. It's like, here you go, keep it stum.
Keep it stum, yeah. Don't look into it.
Mm.
And it does seem like that. And that is barbaric.
It's disgusting.
Because there's, like I say, like we've said countless times, there's families that have been destroyed over this. There's people who have lost their lives
innocent
over
people
this.
that have nothing to do with anything.
No,
because
they've
government
been used as pawns.
Because the governments, every single government on this planet, I'm coming at it from a harsh point of view, but this is what I genuinely believe.
Oh God.
It doesn't matter where in the world you are. You can think you have the nicest government on the planet, and I guarantee you they have some dark shit they're keeping hidden.
Oh, 100%.
I guarantee you beyond a shadow of a doubt there's not a single country on this planet where the government is 100% legit.
Yeah.
Not one.
No.
But that's a conspiracy theory in itself, and that's another podcast in itself.
Yeah.
We're going to
and as well, that can work out for like my side of it as well.
Exactly.
Like what we was on about in the last episode, on the Bigfoot episode. Like, that a lot of people think that the government hiding that up. The government they're up to something.
They're up to something. What it is, I don't know, but there's so much. If we was to open up a closet full of their skeletons, fuck.
It's like Pandora's box.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I think, in a way, people would want to know.
Of course, people will want to know.
But in some ways, I think it's better not knowing.
I think it is better not knowing.
Yeah, I
think it's better not knowing. Because the fact of the reality is, like I said earlier, it will topple every regime, every government.
Yeah.
It will topple the world as we know it.
Yeah.
At the minute, just crumble.
Yeah. At the minute, we're good little people.
Yeah. Just doing what we're told.
Yeah. Keeping us quiet.
But on the flip side of that, especially in recent years, a lot more people are starting to wake up.
Yeah.
A lot more people are starting to go, you're taking us for fools. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And
it's okay keeping us safe from evil, but when you're trying to treat us like fucking idiots, we're gonna.
The sad reality of it is
talk
as well.
Back.
They say they're trying to keep us from evil.
Yeah,
look in the mirror, kid.
Yeah,
you're the real fucking evil here, mate.
Yeah, that is right.
Exactly. And as I was saying, with governments and all that, I honestly believe the way people are waking up now.
Yeah.
If another 9/11, I pray to God,
touch wood.
Yeah, this never happens. But I believe if another situation like this occurs on this scale, that's it. Yeah, that's when everyone will be okay. Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, because like boy who cried wolf.
Yeah, which is when I said in the intro podcast, I'm not an avid conspiracy theorist.
No,
I'm not coming at it from a point of, oh, do you know what? I believe this and that because I want to believe in this and that. No, I believe in things like this and the other conspiracy podcasts that I do because A, I don't believe they can be true.
Right.
And B, that someone is blatantly hiding something.
Yeah.
In every single conspiracy theory, like for argument's sake, I said with 9/11, it's the government.
Right.
When I do the Diana death, it's the royal family. With the Epstein scandal and paedophilia, it's God knows who. Do you know what I mean? But every single one of the ones I do, someone out there is hiding something.
Yeah.
And it's a question of what are they hiding?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that is it. What are they hiding? In a way, why are they hiding it?
That's the main question.
Yeah.
What are they hiding and why?
Yeah. Like I say, it's just it's just so we can live our normal day-to-day lives. That we are just guinea pigs in their little world. Yeah, that's
all we are.
That is sad reality.
Pawns in their chess game.
And we're saying about the governments and that. Is there a higher power?
There very well could be. There very well could be.
And I think that is an episode we have got coming up.
Oh,
at
yes, we
some
have,
point.
my friend.
Yeah,
Yes, we
yeah.
fucking have.
So, Josh, is there any other points you want to bring across?
Well, off the top of my head, I can't think of any, but if I do, obviously we will come back to another episode.
Yeah,
but with 9/11 and that, I will be linking them into other podcasts, i.e., is there a higher power, governments, royal families, all that sort of shit.
Yeah,
They will be intertwined with one another.
Because I think, because with 9/11, that is probably one of the biggest conspiracies on the planet.
If not the biggest.
Yeah, and it can be linked to every
other single. That's the thing with these conspiracy podcasts as well. You can almost look at them as parts, like part A, B, C, D, because they some way are going to link with one another.
Yeah, they're connected in some way,
They're
shape,
connected
or form.
in some way, and 9 times out of 10 it is sadly through the government.
Yeah, and it's like like you could even link it from what's happened at 9/11 to what's happening now
Nowadays.
Yeah, so
I mean, even with when we invaded like Afghanistan and Iraq, and all them places. So many people come out and said, you don't realise the ripple effect this is going to cause when it comes to the rise in terrorism, the rise in hatred.
Which it has.
And look at it now.
Yeah, because at the time it was Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden ISIS
came
about.
Yeah.
And look what happened there.
Exactly.
The destruction they've caused.
And they're just 2 terrorist organisations.
Yeah, they're the big ones.
You taking countries, into example, with Russia and Ukraine, what's going on there. Why are they doing that? There's obviously a plan. Vladimir Putin blatantly has a plan for why he's doing this. You don't just wake up one day and say, I don't like Ukraine, let's invade them.
Yeah, let's take them.
There's a reason why.
Yeah, there's some sort of regime.
What is that fucking reason, and why are you doing it?
Why are you going to kill
innocent people? Because with every single one of these conspiracies... for every single one of these like attacks or invasions or that, the sadness of it is, and it truly is sad when you think about it in a big picture, the innocent lives are the ones that are getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And that are getting lost and everything.
Yeah.
Whilst all the bigwigs, all your governments, all your world leaders, they're just raking in the money.
The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer.
Who earns money out of a war?
Yeah, that's the
government.
The government. Could that be also a reason why they done 9/11?
It very well could be.
Could it be like America's economy could have been fallen slightly, and then all of a sudden, because
my personal theory of what happened on 9/11, do I reckon it was an inside job? Not to an extent, no. What I believe was happening is that the US government knew what was going to happen, Al-Qaeda knew what was going to happen, and they sort of just went together.
Like a happy accident.
Yeah, like a happy accident.
Right.
Like Al-Qaeda had this planned for whatever reason, and the US government allowed them to do it and sort of just helped them on a way.
Yeah.
Because if the planes that hit the towers, they hit the towers, that could have been Al-Qaeda, but then did Al-Qaeda bring them down? Or did the government bring them down?
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it.
Exactly.
But the reason I say about the economy and that, it was because America in the 1930s, they had like the big bust, the prohibition,
Wall Street crash, and all that.
They were poor. They were on their arse.
Yeah.
Until they joined World War II. Mm-hmm. And they coined
problem, reaction, solution.
Yeah, and they coined in the biggest. And
how they're one of the biggest.
That's how they become one of the richest. Well, when you think about it, the 3 superpowers, when World War II ended, the 3 superpowers was Great Britain, Russia, and United States.
Look at them now.
And they're probably 3
powerhouses.
Yeah,
of course you've got China and North Korea and that. But they've obviously going to have dodgy past, but that also was from like oil and things like that.
And China because of the sheer mass of the country.
Yeah, exactly.
But
like you said, the 3
powerhouses of the world is Great Britain,
United States,
and Russia.
And look at them now.
Yeah, because of...
And every single one of them, annoyingly, has one of the dodgiest fucking leaders going.
You leave Boris out of this.
But this is what I'm getting at. This is why... It's just common sense.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you not see that you've got the 3 biggest powerhouse countries on the planet all three are the dodgiest fucking countries on the planet.
Yeah, that is
It's like, how
correct.
can you not see they're blatantly hiding something?
Yeah. Yeah, and it is time for people to open their eyes. But
Yeah.
as well, we're not here to create hysteria and create
No, of
fear.
course we're not. Of course we're not. We're just coming at it from a point of view that we're looking at it where it's like, you're dodgy, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's what brought me onto the whole. Could it be an economy thing?
It very well could be.
Because
it could be a number of things.
Yeah, because of like I said, like how World War II saved the US.
Mm-hmm.
Did it save them again?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what
Could
gets
just
me.
be a number of reasons.
Mm.
Could be all of them for all we know.
Yeah,
Could be every single one.
But like you said,
Economy's collapsing. We want to invade there. We know we can't just out and out say we're going to do it.
no.
Because this is what I mean by that as well. They can't just out and out say they're going to invade a country, because look what happened with Russia. That's what they've done. They've just out and out come out and said, yeah, we're going to invade Ukraine. And look at the backlash they're getting now.
Oh yeah, they get
The exact same would happen if the US did that with the Middle East.
Yeah,
So you create a reason.
yeah,
Ta-da!
like you said.
You're out the stump.
Yeah. But this, like you said, the sad reality is they're playing with innocent people. They're using innocent people as pawns to their chess game.
And it is fucking disgusting.
It is
really
disgusting.
is disgusting.
It's barbaric.
And that's why, getting a bit personal, when it comes to elections or things like that, I'll never vote. I never have, and I never will. Why? Because I don't trust a single fucking one of them.
No.
Whether they say they're going to do good for the country, 9 times out of 10. In fact, no, 10 times out of 10, they end up fucking it in some way or another.
Yeah, they've always got a hidden agenda.
They've always got a hidden agenda, and that's why I will never ever vote.
No.
Granted, my vote exactly ain't going to count to much. Just
No,
one vote,
no.
But there's going to be other people out there that think like me.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And that's why when you see this whole story with the left v the right, and it's like, oh, we're wrong, you're right, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I couldn't care. From my point of view, you're both wrong.
Yeah.
You're both just wankers.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah, it's like, you don't care realistically.
No,
you're just trying to get one up on the other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just you're trying
And
to
that's
just
the
get
same
your
with every
pockets filled.
government. It's like, oh, who's voting for fucking Labour or Conservative? They're both dodgy arseholes. They can both go do one.
Yeah. No, it is always trying to pick the best out of two evils.
Exactly.
And
I will never ever vote. No one will ever sway me to vote.
no.
No one ever will. You could sit me down, interrogate me, put through every perfect scenario why I should vote Labour or Conservatives. I'm never going either.
No, that is
I don't
fair.
care.
That is fair enough. That is fair enough, my man.
Right. I
Right.
think that's about it.
Well, Josh, I'll tell you what, that has been an amazing episode. I hope we don't get any backlash from it.
No,
'cause,
like we've said countless times, we're not coming at it from a disrespectful. We're not meaning to upset anyone. We're just putting through our points of view, and we're trying as little as we can, trying to help
yeah,
the families and the victims of
we want
those.
justice for them
Exactly.
because they've
They
gone
deserve
through
it.
hell.
They deserve it
Yeah.
more than anyone.
Yeah, so we like I say, we are just here to try and get them justice, just trying to make it ease their souls.
Yeah.
Let the people who have sadly passed on, lost their lives, to have their souls rest in peace.
Exactly. But that's it for another episode of Myths and Mysteries in Black and White.
Yeah. Next episode will be on the long-necked creature from Loch Ness. My boy, I'll tell you, I'm buzzing for it because as a kid I've always loved Loch Ness Monster. So
Yeah.
it is going to be on Nessie themselves, the Loch Ness Monster. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. Until next time, cheers. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.